Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome to the Fireside Chat. This is a friendly forum for anybody in the African drone industry to come and join us, and beyond. In fact, we have some special guests here from the US, which is fantastic. Just to get on and a forum for meeting and networking, sharing information, topics about the drone industry, offering support, sharing ideas, information, and things like that. We have a special guest this evening, which will come on just now. But I just wanted to find out who's joining us this evening. Perhaps yourselves, and say where you're from. Maybe start with you, Kim.
Hi, I'm sorry, I was just typing on the chat actually. Distracted. I'm Kim James. I am in a company called Aerial Works, and I'm dialing in from my dining room in South Africa, in Centurion.
Cool. Anna Marie?
My name is Anna Marie. I'm also from Aerial Works. I work with Kim. And I'm also in South Africa, dialing in from my office here. And I'm fairly new to drones, so I'm open to hear and learn more about it.
Excellent, cool, okay. Sharon.
Sharon Rossmark, Women in Drones, and I'm dialing in from Chicago, Illinois in the United States. And we've got it's melting though, but we've got about 35 inches of snow outside.
Oh. I was going to ask you for the snow report.
When does summer arrive in Chicago?
Say what?
When does summer?
When does it? Well, yeah. So, it depends. If you live where Desi is in the United States, I would say for me it's year round. But where I live, it will be warm where you could get out and comfortably wear shorts by June.
Okay, June. Gosh, okay.
Well, we may have a few months, or a few days. The fact that it's been a little warmer the last couple of days, we haven't been below zero. There's been a few brave souls out with shorts just to celebrate the sun and the warmth. But on a daily basis, it'll be a few months. Unless you live where Desi is on the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Desi. Welcome to the Fireside Chat.
I'm excited to be here. Meet everybody and do the networking. I love it.
Excellent. Marfu, you've just jumped on. Do you want to say hi and where you're from?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Mafnase. I'm from Zambia, and I run a college here in Zambia, and I have got an IT company.
Excellent. Cool. Debbie, are you there? Is Debbie? Yeah.
Hello. Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody. My name is Debbie Jurt. I'm a conservation scientist in South Africa. I work for Ezimbelo KZN Wildlife and trying to use drones to aid conservation.
Excellent. Okay. Kayla?
Hi, everyone. I am Kelebogile Kele. I'm with the Drone Council of South Africa. I'm one of the founding directors. But I'm also managing a business incubator that's based in one of the townships. We're looking at droning, animation, gaming, and virtual reality. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, hang on. I've got more people coming in. Hang on a minute. Bear with me a sec. Here comes Queen. Okay. Who else have we got? Richard, are you able to? Are you there? No, not yet. Queen, do you want to say hi?
Hi everyone. So I'm late.
Zetu, are you there? Okay. Let's hang on a sec. I just got to quickly type something.
Tofunmi's here as well.
Who's that? Sorry?
Tofunmi.
Hi everyone, my name is Tofumi. I'm happy to be here. This is my first time on here. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I'm currently in Philadelphia, in the US. I just heard about, I started learning about drones, looking around, searching the internet, to know more about women who are looking for careers in that industry. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Cool, thank you for joining us. Yeah, we've got Sibo Cecil from the University of Johannesburg as well, who's joining us. There's Richard from Airworks. I'm not sure if he's on at the moment. He's from the UK. And we got Chris Jordaan as well.
Hello, Chris.
Very quiet.
Observing.
Okay.
He's shy.
Okay. Well, that's cool. We've got a great audience. So Theo, thanks for joining us. This evening we've got Ella or Elizabeth Jordaan, who's going to give us a talk about some basic tips for drone maintenance. Ella's co-founder and head technician for Kalahari Drone Solutions. Take it away, Ella.
Already.
Yeah. Well, maybe hang on before. Maybe, I mean, how did you become a technician? I mean, and why did you start Kalahari Drone Solutions? Perhaps a quick intro on that.
I wanted to start by saying what I did. I am a qualified instrumentation technician, and then I moved here to the Free State, and I couldn't find anything near my my trade, my choice of trade, and I couldn't find anything. So then one day it just hit me like something from the side, then drones, why not? Because it has so much instrumentation. Without instrumentation, you can't have drones, no way. So drones are dependent on the instrumentation, and you can do it everywhere, but here's not lots of, actually no possibilities you can do something like that here in the Free State yet. So then I decided, why not just start by myself? So that's where we are now. I wanted to tell you what is an instrumentation technician. I have notes because it's very long words and it's high English. So an instrumentation and control engineer is a branch of engineering that studies the measurement and control process variables of the design and implementation of systems that incorporate them. So the process variables include pressure, temperature, flow, force, speed, etc. So with your drones, you need to know how fast you're flying, how high you are flying, and everything that you have in the drone is basically just instrumentation. Your sensors that you have that tell you how far you are from an obstacle and stuff. So that is what I do. That's my trade. That is instrumentation, and I love it so much. And like I said, the drone world is dependent on instrumentation. So I'm very, very excited about it, the drone world.
Okay. Oh, no, that's cool, hey? So yeah, I mean, obviously there's you're saying they're critical, but how did you, but why did you set up the Kalahari Drone Solutions? What was the meaning, what was the thoughts behind that?
Because there's no drone companies nearby. I only found drone companies in Pretoria, Johannesburg, and Cape Town, and maybe Durban, but they're all far. So I want to, me and my co-worker, we want to help people from this side. We want to be able to be there for people who need assistance from here, who wants to buy drones, because there's only one company I've ever heard of before meeting everyone, and that was Drone World. And that's just because that was all. Then I started doing research, and then I found a few more places, and through that I became I studied a bit further in the industry. So there's not a lot of places. It's just it's not really happening here. It's in America or so. So I decided, well, if not now, when then? I think it was Elon Musk that said, your 10-year plans, try to complete your 10-year plans in 5 years. And then that was the push over the edge. I was like, well, now I'm doing it. I'm going to start it right now, because when then?
Yeah, okay, excellent. So, I mean, what are some of the common things that you find in terms of what are people doing with drones that really are causing problems that, can reduce their time in the air, so to speak?
So can I start now?
Yes, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, because there's a lot of stuff. There's not just one thing.
No.
Lots of stuff. But the first thing that I am going to start with is the basic things. So I'm going to start with the propellers. A drone is a small but very powerful tool, and people forget this. The best way to ensure the safe flight is a 100% working drone. There's not 50% or 20%. The drone must be working 100% to be safe. So because the drone is so small and powerful, the slightest imperfection will affect the aerodynamics of the drone. So we know all drones are different, but the basics of all drones remain the same. So like I said, I'm going to start with the most obvious problem that people find, and that is the propellers. So as we know, most UAVs are equipped with 4 propellers, 2 working clockwise and 2 working anti-clockwise. So DJI has taken into account the possibility of mounting the drones incorrectly. To avoid this, if a propeller is attached at the wrong motor, it cannot be mounted without using a great deal of force, thus damaging the propeller and the propeller mounts as well. So the propellers are also marked that you can't switch them around with the same white and black color to the motor it works with. So we always have to check that we put the correct propeller on the correct motor to ensure that it works correctly. And then the other thing that you have to look for is always check the propellers before you fly, because if one of the tabs are broken, it is possible that one of the propellers can fall off during flight. The broken tab can also point to a damaged or broken motor. So the propellers are very sensitive. Any scratches, dents, chips can affect the aerodynamics, which will cause vibration. So if the propeller is broken, it will cause vibration on the motor, and then the vibration on the motor will eventually cause vibration on the craft's frame and body. The vibration can also go into your gimbal, and then this breaking the gimbal, and the vibrations are transferred through your drone. So it's not just the motors, it's everything then. So when you start, your propeller is broken, it affects the motor with a vibration, and then it goes into the body and then your gimbal. So it's not just something small that gets affected, it's a lot of stuff that gets affected just because of a small propeller that is then broken or has a crack or something, and not a lot of people take that into account. So we have to be like, this is the bird, the wings of the bird. So you have to take very, very good care of the propellers, because you want your bird to fly. And if you take a bird and you cut its wings, it cannot fly. So, and you know, if you have a bird, then it will struggle. So it won't work. So it's best to always make sure the propellers are working 100%. Cool. So that's the first thing that I can talk about, is the propellers, which is very important. So are there any questions about the propellers themselves from anyone?
Ella, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. One of our crafts, and we're quite finicky with our kind of clean working area, so everyone has to sanitize and clean the drones after use, and the pre-flight checks are obviously very important. But one of our drones came back the other day from a mission, and they reported on the snag list that it was making a funny noise. And I looked at the propellers, and it looked like it had flown through a swarm of insects. They were completely covered in stuff, which I probably struggled to get off. And as soon as we cleaned it off, and I had to like use, I used hand sanitizer just to get it off. But, and then they took it for a test flight, and it was totally fine, but it wasn't performing well, the aircraft. And we can only suspect that it was because it had obviously flown through a swarm of whatever, insects or whatever, and it was actually packed onto the leading edge of the the propeller. So just a comment to say it's not even a damage, it's just something that's packed onto it that actually affected the performance of the drone.
What also happens is some people like to stick stickers on every part of the drone, and the insects or the stuff that you found on it will have a weight on it that it is not used to. So it's like having, if you have a weight on this side, it's like having a chip on this side. So it won't work correctly unless you have this motor and its corresponding motor. Say you have this one that's dirty and the corresponding one to this. If both of them are dirty and 100% equal dirty on both sides of the propellers as well, that might take the equilibrium a bit better, but it's still not good because it's extra weight that it has to carry, or it has a chip on the other side. That's also what happens. So stickers also affect the aerodynamics. So everyone sticks stickers on everything, but it's not really good for if you put it on the propellers, or you must know where to stick it, not thousands of them, because it will also have weights on one side more, maybe one side less. So I believe that it will affect that. And after you have found that, you can also just check that your motor is still working correctly after that.
Cool.
Any more questions? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about are the batteries that we use when we work with the drone. The batteries are a crucial part, and we can write books about how to work with a battery, how to inspect it, how to whatever. So because there's lots of stuff about the battery that we need to know and check as well. So I'm just switching on everything. I did it the wrong way around now. So, but I'm not flying, so that's fine. Just to show you what I'm talking about. Work depends on how you treat it. So it's like a cell phone or a car battery. If you throw it everywhere, it's not going to work as good as it does if there's no damage on it. So
yeah, I think you're on mute, Ella. I think we've got some problems there with the connection. Okay.
I wonder if when she fired up her drone, it made an interference with her network.
That's a good point. You're on mute, Ella, at the moment.
okay, so I switched it off. I'm going to switch it on again. Sorry about that.
It might be causing an interference.
Yes. So okay, I'm going to leave it off then. And then when I'm going to put it on later, and then we can see if it causes interference again. But one thing that we also have to know is, but I'm going to talk about that later, we also have to take in account where you fly, because if you fly near electric cables and electrical structures and that, it will affect your drone as well, just as the drone affected the computers now. So we always have to take into account where we are going to fly. But I was talking about the batteries. So I'm going to start again from the first thing I said about the batteries. I said the batteries are a time bomb for me, because they are inevitably, that's a big word. It's going to stop working somewhere. So you have to, how you treat it will depend on how long it will last when you work with it. So if you treat it good, then it will last you longer. But if you treat it bad, it's not going to last that good. If you treat it like a cell phone, you can treat it like a cell phone or a car. So the better you treat it, the longer it will last. So there are a lot of factors that can affect the battery. So I'm going to start with the easiest. The easiest we can do to check the battery is physical inspection. Always do a physical inspection, check the batteries, never use, charge a swollen, leaky or damaged battery, because it can cause damage to the drone, it can catch fire or even explode. So we don't want that to happen. The next thing we always have to look at is the temperature in the areas we use it, as well as the temperature of the battery itself. So it is best to use the battery in temperatures as described by the guidelines. Usually the temperature is between -10 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius for the battery use for the battery use normal requirements. So that is the temperature it has to work between. Using the batteries above 50% can cause the battery to fire or explode because of the excessive heat that is exposed to. Again, using the battery in less than -10 degrees Celsius will reduce the performance of the battery like an old petrol car during winter. So that's the same if you use it in a very cold place. So that's not good. The next thing we have to know is the storage of the battery. So you can just put the battery down anywhere you want to and think it will be fine. That's not how it works. The battery needs to be properly stored. You do not store the battery when it's still fully charged for an extended period of time. You have to discharge it. It must be saved between 40 and 60%. Then you can save it. Otherwise, if it's more than that or fully charged, it may cause it to over discharge, which will damage the battery. And then when we charge our batteries, I have the charger here, we have to ensure that the place where you charge the batteries are attended. It's an attended place, because if you leave it alone, it can overcharge and it can break as well. It's also a hazard. And the batteries, if you look on your controller and you are in at your batteries, you can also see the amount of times your batteries are charged. So they call it the cycles. So the amount of cycles that you have is the amount of times your battery was charged. If not damaged, if your battery was never damaged in any way and the battery is still good, and it reached amount 200 cycles, you will need to replace it because it's getting old. So you have to, it's better to replace it at 200 cycles. Then the disposal, the safest way to get rid of an old battery is to turn it in at your nearest drone dealer when you replace it. Otherwise, dispose of the battery in specific recycle bins after complete discharge. It must be completely discharged, otherwise it's still a hazard. Do not throw away the batteries in regular trash containers, as this is a safety risk for yourself and other people, because again, it can catch fire and even maybe explode. So we have to dispose of it properly. Then when we use the battery, we need to prepare before flying. Your battery of your drone needs to be charged. Your phone battery or your tablet battery needs to be charged, and your remote control also needs to be charged, preferably fully charged for your cell phone. When you are flying your drone, always keep in mind that the drone has to fly back and safely land before the battery is 20%. Beyond this will cause damage to the battery, which could be cell damage of capacity reduction. So you need to make sure that you prepare for your flight, where you're going to fly, where you're going to land, not try to fly back with 10% and then the drone will fall out of the sky and then it's not your fault, because why? So you need to make sure that you are prepared, well prepared. Then the battery maintenance. Fully charge and discharge the battery at least once every 3 months to maintain battery health. Battery life may be reduced if not used for a very long time. Clean regularly with a clean cloth, clean dry cloth, and you wipe at the terminals, and you can wipe your drone at the terminals as well. So how to test the battery? This is actually what I wanted to show you. But if you go into your app where you fly, there's a little battery logo there. I don't know if you can see that, the battery logo. So if you have a drone that is connected, mine is not connected right now, you will see here the cells that the drone, that the battery has. So it will show you the cells as if, then you can see what are each of the cells' voltages. So with the aircraft connected and ready, you can view the voltage of every cell inside the battery to the point. So if the battery is working correctly, the cells should not differ more than 0.1 volt. If they differ more than that, it is likely that something is wrong with the battery. So we can always check that. And if you fly, another test you can do is if you fly, not just hover, if you fly and you check your battery voltages, they must all remain green. If they are not green, if they are yellow, orange, or red, that means that there's likely something wrong with the cells inside your battery. So the test is important for your battery. You can't just look at it and say, oh, it's fine and it's fully charged, I can go fly. You must check the batteries inside. It is very important to look inside as well. Then you can see exactly what is going on inside of the battery. So any questions about the batteries?
I just want to throw in really quick, like, that's
Yes.
awesome because they are very volatile. And so the care is so important, and you just described everything so well.
Thank you. Not a lot of people know about like the disposal of them and how to store them correctly. So this is how you can keep your battery safer for longer. And I think that's very important because batteries are not your cheapest thing to buy. So the better you take care of it, the better it will be for yourself.
Ella, I just wanted to say, I think battery management, although I'm not 100% responsible for it, but I am the safety officer in our company, it's the most stressful thing I have to do. I worry about it all the time. When I see batteries charging, I'm like, oh, I don't like it at all.
Yeah. Ciso has asked, other than weight, what drains the battery the most?
Well, the most, I would say, your wind, because when you fly, the drone has to, say the wind is coming from this side, you have to compensate for the wind. So the motors will work harder because it will have to compensate for the wind. So I would say wind will definitely affect your battery the most. And then, yes, I would say basically wind. It also, if you fly at a constant rate, it uses its battery, but when you fly up and down the whole time, it has to use more of its power to go up. And then it reduces a bit, it has to go down, but every time you go up, you use more of your power to go up. So lots of people think it's fine to go up and down like this, and that also affects the battery more easier. So up and down the whole time instead of just flying straight at the constant. And even if you go faster, slower, that also is affected. But one thing that I've realized that people don't know is on your remote, you always have a selection of, do you want it to fly in normal mode, sports mode, or ATI mode? So when flying it in sports mode and ATI mode, it will also affect the battery usage, especially sports mode, because then you are looking for the power. You are not caring about your battery and stuff. So you are looking for the power, then you use more power because you don't care about the power you have. So flying your drone in normal mode, I think, would also save a bit of power instead of sports mode. So that's some of the things that I've seen that uses the most battery.
Okay. Cool. Debbie's got a question here asking, the newer intelligent batteries supposedly self-discharge after a specified time. How reliable is this?
They discharge after 10 days. It is reliable, but as we all know, technology can fail. So I would say you can trust it, it's fine, but I think it's better to take the battery and discharge it yourself, then you take out the possibility for something to go wrong. So just charge it yourself and make sure that if you don't want to, I mean, it's fine, but the possibility of something going wrong is greater, because we know technology is not always reliable. So I would say discharge it yourself.
I've got a question, or sort of two things actually. I remember one time I was flying in Underberg, high altitude. It was a reasonably hot day, but not boiling, but we were hovering. And the heat on that battery when we came to land was quite shocking, just from hovering. That we were hardly moving, but it was quite scary actually how hot that got within the aircraft. And I sort of left everything alone to cool down a bit. But I'm curious, if you do some flying out in the field and you want to, and you can recharge your batteries while you're out there, you need to let them cool down. Hey, you shouldn't immediately jump them straight into the thing. Sorry, I've lost my words.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
When you charge your battery, the ideal temperature is between 5 degrees and 40 degrees Celsius with the DJI approved charger. So you have to make sure that your charger is good, and the temperature that you charge it in has to be between 5 and 40 degrees Celsius. And just let it cool down a bit. You also can see the battery temperature on your phone when you fly. You can look at it, and you can look that it doesn't go too high. So I would say rather wait for it to be more or less in the middle, and then you charge it. So it has to cool down for a bit. Yes, definitely.
Okay. I mean, do you find battery issues are some of the biggest things that you've got to deal with?
Battery issues, because if you take a propeller, you can see, okay, this thing has a dent, this thing is broken, this is like this. But with the battery, you just see the outside. But if it's swollen, but swollen is like 1 out of 10 of the problem. So you have to check on the inside as well. And I don't think a lot of people do that, which is the problem. Because if you look on the inside, you have so many options that you can view from just this battery. Then you can actually see, it's like taking an x-ray of the battery. So that's good. You want to see that. I don't think a lot of people look at it because, oh no, it's fine, it's fully charged, I can just go fly. So I have 2 batteries with me now, but when I went flying, they were both full. When I went flying, the one I've flown like 10-15 minutes, but the other one I only went to the pivot center, and then when I came halfway back, it said he needs to go home because the battery is getting below the certain point. So one of the batteries are not working as good as the new one, because then you can also go look at how many cycles it has, if it's old. And so like I said, they do break after a while. So if you have a new battery, you will get the most out of your drone.
Okay. Yeah.
Louise, I think Queen has her hand up.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Queen. Sorry. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Ella, thank you so much for the presentation. I heard you mention something about the wind, that the wind can actually make your battery consumption to be even higher.
Yes.
I am an aspiring manufacturer. So when I did the customer discovery journey, one of the pains that they mention is that they want someone that can build a weather resistant drone. And one of them, of course, is wind, you know. So do you think that will solve a problem, or to actually make it worse? If I build a drone that is wind resistant, how will that affect the battery consumption?
Well, I think if you want to build a wind resistant drone, it has to be like bigger than a plane, because there's nothing that's wind resistant. It's just like that. So I would say try it, but I don't think it's going to be. Yes, you have propellers that might be stronger, heavier, and so, but taking away, how can I put it? We want small drones. We want small drones that are lightweight and stuff. So the smaller your drone is, the more the wind will affect it. So if you take that into account, by the end of the day, you will have to build such a big drone that the wind doesn't affect it that strong. So I say you can, but it might be just very big. If you can do it, I mean, that will be great. That will be really great. But
sorry.
No, sorry, you can speak.
Like I was saying, we are in that space, obviously. We are building the big fixed wing ones that are using military, but you're commercializing it for private sector. So you're saying in that context, then it's fine, but not with the smaller ones.
With the bigger ones, definitely, because it has more compensation for the wind. Like if you take a plane, the turbulence is, as I understand it, very, very strong wind and wind changes. So if you take a small drone, I think if you have 10 drones flying, just hovering next to each other in a strong wind, small from big, then I think you will see the comparison between the small one, which will almost stand like this because it has to compensate for the wind, where the bigger ones will just maybe do this. So I think that's mathematically the best way to work that out would be the weight of the drone mathematically working with the wing strength, as well as how many battery usage it uses at that point. So I think mathematically you can work that out. That might be the best way to do that.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. Now I understand why these scientists are giving a lot of numbers that I don't understand. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. So the last part of
Sharon's got a question. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead, Ella. I'll wait.
No, you can speak. I'm going on to the next chapter, so you can just speak. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, my question probably is better for the end, but first of all, I think you're offering some great tips. And for those of us that are drone pilots, we know that repeatable processes are very important and critical for safe flights. I'm just wondering, because of the great number of tips you're offering, have you captured this as like a checklist where you can share that or willing to share that, and so that people understand that every time, even if they're on one job, but every time they go to put a bird in the air, they need to use that checklist to check the batteries, for example, and the propellers, because it's not one of those that I start this morning at 9 a.m. and I fly all day. No, you need to do it every time you land and change batteries, or you need to check the propellers. So I would just think a checklist of the tips that you're offering us would be great.
When I worked on the mine, if we wanted to drive with a vehicle, the vehicles were available for anyone who has a public license and a mine license. So every time we get in a vehicle, doesn't matter if I take the vehicle, you come, you take it 5 minutes. Everyone, when you take the vehicle, you have to do a pre-start. So what they did was you have to check the wheels, the lights, the horn, the oils and everything. So I think you have to have a checklist, especially if you are a large business. Have a checklist that you can write everything down: who's flying the drone, what time, what is the weather. I mean, if I would say, if I had that kind of business, I would say the pilot was required to write down the wind speed of that moment right there. It must write down literally every voltage of each cell, write it down. What is this? How many propellers do you have? How strong is your battery? How long afterwards did you use it? And stuff like that. So I think that will be the best way to go about that. When I was working, or when I was training at Henny's Drone Training and Repair Center, they showed me that they have checklists for each drone that comes in. So each drone gets checked, and when they fly as well. So they're already doing it. So I want businesses, especially large businesses, to do that, because it's not just about what is the wind, what is your battery. At the end of the day, when your pilot flies in 50 kilometers wind, then it can be the legal side can be on your side, because at the end of the day, you have to protect your business and the pilot as well. So I think doing that can protect the business, because then you can say, okay, if the drone fell, oh, I don't know why it fell, then you can say, okay, this was your pre-start, you've flown in 50 kilometers an hour wind and your battery was 10%, so you are responsible. Or so I think that must actually be a must for every business that uses pilots and drones very much, from my point of view.
Kim?
Queen, you have your hand up too. Were you wanting to ask a question before me? Or was it still your previous one? Maybe it was the previous one. Ella, I think, and to Sharon's question, I was just going to say, from a commercial drone operator perspective, we have these checklists. It's a requirement. Yes. So we have pre-flight, we have post-flight, we have field ops manuals where everything is recorded, and the pilots hate it. You can imagine, right? It's like, and the checklists become automated. And Anna Marie, who works with us, her and her husband are actually a crew team, and they go out and they do a lot of night shifts and they do a lot of our security work. And Anna Marie's husband is one of our best pilots. He's meticulous with stuff. So his checklists are in the head, but our checklists are there to ensure that all of this is literally cracks in the body, chips, even the little things like, making sure that the camera lens is clean. So the operators have this, and if they don't, they shouldn't be operating. But I think Sharon made such a good point, Ella. I think you could actually offer some advice in the form of a little checklist that you can maybe publish or whatever to the hobbyists, because they don't know. And oftentimes you see these, because I'm on all those groups and it's horrendous, because the guys are like, my battery's been giving me some hassle and I flew it anyway and now my drone's crashed. And then they send a photo. Does anyone know how to repair this? So I think it's a great idea for you to maybe publish that and offer that as something to the hobbyists, because the operators would know, but the hobbyists have no clue. A lot of them, not generalizing, but.
Yes, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you need to look out. So that would actually be very fun for me if I can do something like that. So I can send it next to it too, because there's a lot of things you need to look at before you fly. And the other thing that I've realized is I won't say most, all the drones that you buy do come with a manual. So if you look at the manual, then you can actually make your own checklist. So the manual says everything to you, what you can, you cannot do. So if you do that, then you definitely can make your own. But I would like to do that, definitely.
But we all know that people don't read manuals, right?
I was just about to say.
And then
just throw it away. Oh, look, what does this not do?
Ella, I'm monitoring the chat here, and Debbie actually raised a couple of points around, and I know this for our own fleet too, that some of the older drones have batteries that are difficult to get now, like some of the old P4s and the Inspire ones. So that was just a comment. Yeah, that was just a comment, which, yeah, we have that as well. Difficult to get.
I think it's like a car or a cell phone. Who uses Nokia 3310 anymore? Who uses no one uses them anymore. So my suggestion is that technology does get old, just like a cell phone, just like a car. So if you cannot find like pirated parts for it, like a vehicle, I think you don't really get that stuff. Your dealers will sell everything they can until you can't get any more. So it will eventually become time to get a new one, as the new technology would also be better for you as well. So nothing lasts forever. Unfortunately, I wish there was a company that made pirated parts, but that's also legally not right. So I think it's better to eventually you're going to buy a new one.
There is a company out there that has created hydrogen-powered systems that can actually be plugged in, sort of retrofitted. But I don't know whether or not they really go for the small scale, the Phantoms and things like that. But they are actually using hydrogen-powered systems, which would be interesting. And I mean, of course, it gives you huge flying time. But that would be quite nice, having an alternative power system entirely, to not rely on these nasty batteries.
Sorry,
Maybe we should have someone speaking about that and showing us that, because I would love to see that. Really, I would.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you get that past the regulators.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think it's Ballard. It's an American company. I'm sure I've seen them with their news items, and I think they've just been bought out by somebody. But yeah, that would be. But yeah, I think the regulators might have something to say, recalling memories of the R101 or something like that. But yeah, cool.
Okay, so I have just a few more points, and then I will be done. Then there might be more questions from someone, I'm not sure. So the final points, it's just like 5 or so. That you always need to keep your software updated. Your battery has its own software. The remote controllers have their own software, and the drone itself and the camera. So it's always better to update your software, your drone, your remote, everything. And also where you fly has an impact on your drone. Because as you saw now, when I switched my drone on, the network didn't, it went off. So where you fly, it's better to fly in an area that is not close to power lines or large electrical structures, for that will affect your drone, your communication, and even your gimbal. So you also are not allowed, you should not fly near where there are manned aircraft. So stay away from those areas completely. And then check your regulations when you are flying in a residential area, because there are lots of people, when I tell them about a drone, they also, oh, I can spy on the neighbor's girlfriend. So that's not what drones are for, but if you want to, it's fine. You do your thing. But that's the question that I always, it's either can I put a gun on it or can I spy on the neighbor's girlfriend? So that's the two questions I get. So no and no. You need to know your regulations in the area, in your residential areas that you fly. And before you fly, you also need to check your satellite count before, and make sure that the craft has GPS lock, because if it does not, it will not know where home point is, and it will not know where it is. So the next thing is, when you are flying 50 kilometers or more from the place you have previously flown, like your previous location, the compass must be recalibrated, because every area has its own magnetic field. So if I come from Pretoria, I fly here, and then I tell my drone to go home, it will fly off to Pretoria, because that's where home is. So you need to calibrate it again and tell it, okay, you are now here in the Free State, so please do not fly to Pretoria. And then you always need to do your pre-flight inspection. And if you don't have one, we can supply you with one. And the pre-flight inspection forces you to look at the little details. So you might prevent an accident or an incident with that. So it might take time. It's fine. It will prevent something bad from happening in the future. You also have to make a note of the highest obstacle around, so that when you know you need to fly either higher than that or not close to that obstacle. And yeah, that's all. So if you have any inquiries, you can always phone me, or you can phone our partners in Pretoria, Hennis Drone Repair and Training. I will let Louise put the emails and numbers up.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
I don't have a question, but just a comment. Just last week or a few days ago in Harwich, it was reported in the newspapers. They're calling it the naughty drone. Someone's got a drone and they're flying it at night and peeking in people's windows. So just to echo what you're saying, people are quite really want to use drones for those purposes. And I don't think they've caught them yet.
That's sneaky.
Yeah. Can I ask a question, Louise, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Ella, I don't know if you're aware that there's this South African Drone Council. Most of the members luckily are in this platform today. And there's a chamber within that Drone Council called Manufacturing and Technicians. You know, my question to you is that if we want to train our unemployed youth or whoever, or our pilots actually, to become technician, what will be the prerequisite and how long will it take? And maybe later I'll engage you after this meeting, maybe not today necessarily, but to share more information about training of technician, please. But on the average, how long does it takes to train a technician, and what are the prerequisites?
Well, I'm not really sure about the drone technicians themselves. I've never met a drone technician, except for people who make themselves a drone technician, if I can put it that way, because I've never seen a formal way of doing it. So because it's still new in South Africa, I have no idea. All I know is the route that I have gone as an instrumentation technician. It takes about 2 to 4 years, depending on the person and depending on the company as well, because you need your practical experience done. And then with that, you have the mines, then you have different areas. How can I put it? You have manufacturing businesses and you have mines. So every place differs. I think they should make something for the drones because, like I say, all the instrumentation is the same, but where you will do your practical will differ. So if you go and do your practical in a factory against the mine, the basics stay the same, but you won't get that needed experience. So I think they should make a practical place where you can literally go and work on drones, because that's the experience that you need. But instrumentation itself takes about 2 years if you do it through a training center, but it costs a lot of money. So usually the businesses pay for that, for someone they want to give an apprenticeship or like that to them. Further, I'm not sure. I don't really know places that give the training. I just basically learned, I went to this place, what can you teach me? Another place, what can you teach me? So there are not a lot of places that teach you that stuff. I've heard that you have to go to China if you want to learn that. So I'm not sure about the route at all. Not at all.
Okay, no, thank you so much.
I can just, I'm not 100%, but I know a little bit about it. And Ella, you're right. There isn't actually it's called an RMT, remote. Yeah,
so one I'm thinking about.
The RMT, so the remote maintenance technician. There isn't something like that literally is independent. So ordinarily, if as an operator, you get certified as beyond visual line of sight, you have to have an RMT in your business. And the way that you get trained as an RMT is, to Ella's point, generally it has been that you go to China and learn how from the factory, or I guess there's a training college, I'm sure they don't put you in the DJI factory, but you go to the original equipment manufacturer and they actually teach you how to maintain this drone. And then it's a CAA, I don't know what color the little book is. I think it's green, right? I can't remember. I don't know, Hennies. I've seen Hennies. So you basically have to be associated to an ROC and you have to have a logbook. And there's a certain amount of hours of technician training and technician work on actual drones. And you have to be signed out on certain models of drones. So it is years, basically kind of to replicate what Ella did in a different guise, then coming in, learning the drone technician piece, but she already had a qualification. But starting from scratch, it would be working in an ROC and having that training. It is years. It's not an easy thing, and I'm sure that will be reviewed at some point. But yeah, I think they talked about it yesterday, right, Queen, on the call, on the chamber call.
Yeah, actually, I'm the one who raised it because I wanted us to go to manufacturing CETA to check the possibility of collaborating with them to come with such a training intervention. But thank you so much. That was very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you, Ella. That was, yes, that was very, very helpful. Thank you very much. I think we're all going to go and check our batteries.
Please do. and
if, away in the corner.
yes. And if any one of you wants to send me to China, I'm more than happy to go to China and learn on how to fix it the legal way. So
let the corona finish first.
Sorry?
Let the corona finish first and then we'll send you.
Yes, please. Can we just wait for wave 3, then I'll go to China.
Excellent. Well, it was really cool. I'm sorry we're coming to an end of our hour already. It's gone very quickly. But we'll have to get you back, Ella, and give us some more guidance later on, I think. But that was really very helpful. Thank you very much. And yeah, if you're happy to do a, yeah, thank you. Sharon's giving you a clap there. If you do want to do a checklist for us, that would be fantastic to see that, see what you come up with. But thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to draw everything to a close. But thank you everybody for attending. Really cool. I hope you enjoyed and got some value out of Ella's expertise there. That was fantastic. Yeah, please come back next week. Bring a buddy. Yeah, let me know if you would like to be a guest speaker yourself. Got some information or knowledge, expertise, guidance that you would like to share. Drop your names into the chat there on contact details. Save the chat. Remember to do that. I will be posting these or editing them, just top and tailing them, and they'll be up on the website soon. So yeah, and become a member of Women in Drones. Go onto the website, have a look there. You'll see that the pricing has been adjusted for us for African exchange rates. So do have a look at that, become a full member, and come back next week and come and hear what our next guest speaker has to say. I'm going to keep that quiet until we get closer. Keep you on the edge there. But thanks very much, everybody. You all take care. And,
well done, Ella. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Okay.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank everyone for being here.
Great job.
Bye.
Well done.
Bye, everybody.